Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mom's Pearls, the show where we discuss life's questions with a biblical perspective. I am here. I'm Yolanda, here with my sisters, Sister Shayla and Sister Leah, and we are all moms. We are sisters in Christ. And today we are discussing what to expect when expecting part 2. We had part 1 last week, and this week we are going into part 2. So stay tuned as we jump right into what to expect when expecting. Mom's Pearls. Mom's Pearls. Mom's Pearls.
All right. So welcome back. Hello to all of our new moms and all of our first-time moms. And then those of you that have done this a time or two, hello, friends. Hi, ladies. Welcome back as well. So please keep our chat popping. Let's talk about it. Put in their suggestions, ideas, thoughts, comments, and let's go ahead and jump in. So last week we were talking about all the fun stuff associated with getting prepared for having this lovely human being or human beings if you have 2 or 3. Okay, it's my shirt for twins. Okay, twin mom life. So if you have multiples, so we were getting prepped for that up until this point, what to expect with our bodies and things like that. Now these lovely beings are here. Our human being is in our arms and hands. What do we do from there? So we touched a good little bit on breastfeeding, which was fun, not so much fun, right? Exactly. So let's continue that conversation. So now let's talk about some of the things that we experience, right? One of the big things when our body changes down below, like once you push out this baby, how do you feel? Can you go back to using the bathroom the way you normally would? How does all of that work? Well, let me be the first to tell you, with my first one, it was a little tricky. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't know, is this gonna burn? Is this gonna hurt? What's the whole situation? But I know before you leave the hospital, they do make you poop before you leave in order to leave.
Do that no more. They stopped it.
Really?
Stopped it. Yes, they don't do that no more. Nope. If you can get up and walk around and go in there and pee, you can go. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's a recent development because my son, we were 6 years old in the hospital with him, and I don't remember them doing it with the twins. That is true. It's a good point. But that's probably that they was like, girl, this your third. You know what to do. But but with my son, I do remember they would not let me leave until I had shown that I could poop. Wow. Okay, lady. Sorry, you might be on your own for that one. But just take your time, relax, and it will happen. It will come naturally. Yes. I think with my first one, I did have some help. She might have given me like maybe something to help kind of ease the process along. But if you need to do that, that's perfectly fine. But again, it's talking with your provider and letting them know, because it's really important that you do that, because you have to get your bowel system, you have to get your body back functioning the way that it normally would.
Right, because during labor, it's a traumatic process. So all of your intestines, the baby is on top of everything in your body. So all of that is being smushed. So they have to make sure it's all back to proper functioning. You will sometimes they'll give you a laxative if you've had issues with constipation before, or even if not. Pregnancy can bring on constipation, and delivery. So they could sometimes give you a laxative, and that's why it's important that you are drinking so much water while you are pregnant, because it helps. This is going to sound gross. It helps the poop slide down a little easier, so it doesn't dry out. Because when you dehydrate, then your poop dries up, and that's what makes it hard to push out. It's nasty, but that's the process of it. That's the easy way so we can understand it. So make sure you're hydrated, because if it's starting to hurt when you poop, then you can tear your butt, and then you would need stitches. Yeah. And you just had a baby, so you don't want to cause any more discomfort down in your lady bits by having a constipated bowel movement. Sorry, ladies.
And see, that's true, because if you got the stitch, oh my goodness, my sitz bath was my friend. Oh my gosh, that sitz bath is like heaven. So truthfully, when they tell you drink the water And it's so hard to do too, because your mind is on certain things, other things. Drink that water, take that laxative. And see, back then, I stayed in the hospital 5 days. Now they let you go home the next day. I was in the hospital 5 days for each one of my kids. So I'm talking about back in the 70s. So everything has changed. Everything's so automatic and so quick now. So you still have to be very careful with your bodies, taking care of yourself. I mean, it's a microwave world, so it's just like, come on, although it's fast, we still need to slow down for us.
That is so true. That is so real, because even though because her 5 days, before I started having kids, it was like I worked at the hospital, it was like 3 days. So you were like 3 days in was the hospital time typically for moms to stay in the hospital. But I know now they're turning around where you're going home within the next day. So then, ladies, that just really means it's on us to be responsible for our own bodies and our own care, and making sure that we're getting well and we're taking care of ourselves. So excuse me, don't be in a hurry to be like, oh, when is my body going to feel normal again? When am I going to be able to go outside and do the things that I normally do? Don't worry about that. Really, you need to protect yourself, and you need to make sure that you're taking care of your body. It's so important. Even if they let you go the next day or within 2 days, whatever the case may be, everything is still open. Everything is still fresh. Yep. Everything, it hasn't healed. It hasn't, you're still in the process of changing out the garments underneath, you know what I'm saying? You're still taking it delicately. So all of that stuff is so important. And it's just so important to be prepared and be patient with yourself. Don't, it's really important to have a good support system, because you don't want anybody rushing you or pressuring you. Oh, when are we gonna, sex can be a big issue and a big topic. Let's talk about it, especially if you're married or you're living with your boyfriend or your significant other. Then now the pressure's on. Don't let anybody pressure you. You really have to take care of yourself. It's so important. What do you ladies think?
Well, the doctors, they recommend at least 6 weeks until you get to your first not prenatal, your postpartum checkup. Try to wait until then, so then the doctor will go in and check to make sure you're healing properly. You had a baby, your body is an open wound right now, so you have to heal. It's kind of like a sore. You're bleeding because your body is healing. So we have to give ourselves time to heal. So I would say on that, at least 6 weeks. Some don't wait that long, but it is recommended that we wait at least 6 weeks to be cleared from our doctor to make sure everything is healing the way it should.
I agree. I wasn't giving up nothing. I just had he wasn't getting nothing. So, he waited 6 weeks or not. I didn't care. I was still hurting. So no, I had stitches. No, I wasn't doing it. So
not giving up and not going anywhere.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's the way I felt. And that's real.
It's so important.
Real talk. Yes. You got to take care of you. Look.
So what care do we have? We keep saying, Leah, you kept saying take care of your bodies. To Shayla, you saying take care of you. How do we take care of ourselves after we've had a baby? What are we doing?
For one, you need rest. You need so much rest. When I tell you this baby has came into your life to the point that you're going to be really busy. You think, you look at it, it looks like a picture of fairy tale. Trust me, that's going to change. You need to get you some rest. When that baby sleep, you sleep. When that baby eat, you be eating too. You better get you some, but you gotta take care of you in ways that is probably, you don't even know that you're doing it. I mean, you have to eat. You have to, you got to sleep.
Yes. You got to get the rest. You have to eat properly. You have to drink. With my twins, oh my goodness, my husband was there. He was off for 3 months. He was around the clock with everything, like a meal. I was like, oh, this is the best. Yes, like it's so important that you're eating right, that you're drinking water, that you're getting your rest, because you can't function if you can't think, if you can't, you're like, what's going on, so you want to make sure you do that. Stay inside the house as much as possible. It seems so old, so tired. Trust me, I've been there and got tired of being in the house for 6 months. But it's important that you do it so that your whole body can heal, so that you can get your energy and everything like that, because you might get depressed. You might be like, oh, what's going on? So that takes us into something else, which we're going to move into our next topic on what do we do if we start feeling down?
What do we do when we start feeling down? It's important to check yourself. That's an old song. But to check yourself, be mindful of who you are. Be mindful if little things will cause you to cry. If you don't want to get out of bed, if you don't feel like taking a shower, if you feel like you don't care about how your body feels, or if it's just becoming way too much, that could be a symptom of postpartum depression.
Yes.
And what we don't want to happen is for you to harm yourself or your baby. So take a shower. If you need to get out the house, it's okay. I think if you go for a walk in your neighborhood, slow pace, don't try to get out there and run. If you've been a runner or exercise, take it easy. Just if the weather is nice, get out, go sit on your porch, just get some fresh air, because that helps as well. And when I just had my last baby, I did some placenta care. And with that, we did some encapsulation of the placenta. This is all new to me. It was new to me. So you get the placenta after you have the baby, they dry it out, and they turn my midwife doula, she turned it into a pill. They're supposed to be in the freezer. So that's why it's looking all kind of janky right now, because it's starting to melt. And so you take them, and it's been said that they can help fight off depression. They can also help give you energy, get a boost, because it's you're essentially taking back in your body through the vitamins that you just pushed out. It's a natural thing. You can make tinctures out of it with the placenta, turn it into a liquid. They add alcohol. You can put drops under your tongue to help with menopause and to also give you an energy boost. So there's so many natural things out there. So ladies, if you can get a doula, start looking as soon as you find out you're pregnant, because there's so many different doulas out there, and you want to find one that's gonna gel well with who you are and what you're expecting from your delivery and for your aftercare.
Man, I love this. I love learning something new every day. I'm telling you, back in 1978, they didn't give me the pleasure of none of that. My placenta, when they took it, it was gone.
With my first 3 kids, the placenta just went in the trash. Whatever they did with it at the hospital, they do studies on it. But you can plant it to grow fruit. They suggest you can grow a fruit tree in it. I would have done that, but I was moving 2 weeks after I had my last baby. So I just did the pills and the tincture. But there's so many different options. Research. There's so many more doors open now to us having babies, and to that world with midwifery is coming back into full effect. So look into that. What you want to do with your placenta, or what you don't want to do with it. You can have it dried out, so many different things. But please, if you feel down, if you feel sad, you don't want to eat, you don't want to get out of bed, those are the early symptoms of depression. Tell somebody, tell your provider. I'm big on it. Tell your provider, because if you hide this stuff, how we're going to help you if we don't know?
Exactly.
So tell somebody.
Exactly.
Support system, ladies. Don't be afraid of it.
Taking care of these babies, because these baby is relying on you. Oh, I'm sorry, Leah. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just saying the same thing. Use your support system. Ask for help. It's totally okay. And ladies, too, while we're on the subject of things that happen down below and things that happen in our bodies, what about these cycles? So what about them? For me, I'll start off with both of my first 2 pregnancies. I got my cycle right after like that 6-week period. Oh yeah, I was upset because I was expecting not to have a cycle for a long time. Like, I just went through breastfeeding. My stomach just stopped cramping, and now here I am cramping over a cycle now, y'all, for real. Still nursing, and you getting a cycle. I was so mad. I was so mad. With the twins, it was actually the longest. I was like, see, I gotta have double for the trouble. But that was actually the first time that I had up to like a year without a cycle. Wow, but before then, awesome. It was like instant. Like, oh girl, we back in business. Let's go. What about y'all?
I didn't have to play. I can't even remember mine been so long. Hello, my eldest 44, my baby 26. So I can't even tell you. But then look, I ended up having a hysterectomy. So thank you, Jesus. I still don't have that problem. But no, I can't even remember when mine started after the fact. Y'all forget
at least 6 months for me is what I remember. I think at least 6 months before I get it. I'm 4 months postpartum now and still none yet, thank God. but that's how it's been for me. Everyone is different. Some women, like Leah said, 6 weeks after, you get it right away. Some 18 months after, then they start their cycle.
Right.
And so when you leave the house, we're going to talk about when do we leave the house. So sometimes when we get out, when we had these babies, Shayla said 5 days you're in the hospital. Now you can leave within 12 to 48 hours,
Yes.
well, 24 to 48 hours. I'm ready to go as soon as I get a nap, as soon as I eat, I'm ready to go home. I don't like being in the hospital. I want my own bed, want my own food, send me home. That's why I had my last baby at home. But when do we leave the house to go out into the public? There's so many things to take into consideration. One, be mindful. You're bleeding. When you first have this baby, you're still healing. So give your body time to heal. You don't want to get out there too soon because your immune system was weakened while you were pregnant. And just because you push that baby out doesn't mean your immune system boosted right back up to where it was before. You have to give yourself time and your baby time. The vaccines you were given, if you elected to get any, only some of that transfers to the baby. So the baby is out here clean slate, just as clean as a white robe. And then we're going to introduce all of this stuff to them right away. Some people say it's best for them. On the other hand, I don't agree with that. It's better to ease the baby into that. So for us, we wait until the baby has gotten that first set of vaccines. We do get vaccines. We're not bashing people who do. We're not bashing people who don't. But if you do get them, even if you don't, it's best to wait and ease the baby into all the things that they'll be exposed to anyway. But while their immune system is so fresh, let's be considerate of them, that we don't just flood them with all the germs that are out there right away.
That's true.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. See, my grandmother was born in 1919. So I'm here to tell y'all, when I had my firstborn, I couldn't leave the house for 6 weeks. I could not leave the house for 6 weeks. And when I had my other three, I could not leave the house for 6 weeks. I never understood why until I got older, to know that it was making me sit back, making me relax so that I could produce the milk to feed the baby. My body is healing, and my baby is not out in the environment catching up everything that's out here. You know what I'm saying? And see, nowadays there's so much out there, ladies. You got to be very careful. The first time we left the house was to take him to his first, well, all of them, to take them to their first doctor's appointment. Mm-hmm. You know, that was it. That was it. When I had to go for my doctor's appointment, I had to take the baby. That was it. We went back in the house. We stayed in the house, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, truthfully, it wasn't that bad because I did just much sleeping and healing and eating and healing, just like the baby was. The baby was growing and being prosperous. I was sleeping and eating and being prosperous. Let me quit. But no, that was me.
Absolutely. And there's so much to consider, right? Because there's still so much to do. Like, you think about the baby could be a colicky baby, right? So you don't have a baby that's settled all the time. You got to try to figure out what works for the baby. If it's the milk bothering the baby, sometimes, your baby has different issues with the milk. Especially if you're doing formula, it might not take this one. You might have to try a different one. There's Cradle Cap that sometimes gets a lot of people, as a new mom, you're like, what in the world is on my baby's head? What's going on? Sometimes they get the little bumps on their face, on their skin, different issues, their belly button, all these areas that you have to wash gently around and you have to clean, and I'm telling y'all, it's real work. So it's not like you sitting there in those 6 weeks just looking at paint dry like, man, I'm so bored. No, you have stuff to do. You have a responsibility besides taking care of yourself to take care of this new human being. You have to worry about the baby sleeping, how long, when is the baby going to finally sleep at night? Some people, I don't know how they do it. Okay. I don't know how they do it. Some people have managed to have their baby sleeping through the night super early. I'm talking about within like a couple of months. I don't know how they do it. My baby's in 2, and we got some struggles in there. Okay. We got some real struggles. So I'm just like, I don't know how they do it, but work with it either way you go. If you get it, God bless you. If you can make that work, like they be like, oh yeah, my baby's 7 to 7. At 7 o'clock, I'll be like, what? But yes, God bless you if you can. It's not.
Yes. Some people can do that. And with that, I will suggest start getting your baby on a schedule. Start the routines at night. After you eat, give that baby a bath, feed that baby, give a baby a bath, rub them down, massage them. start a routine that's going to work for you guys, that'll help ease them, that'll help get you guys into sleeping through the night.
Yes.
Okay, and with that, there's still so much more to talk about, ladies. So family, so just stick with us, and we are moving on to our next topic here in this segment.
You know what? I want to know, should we vaccinate? Should we vaccinate our kids? I did. I did. Now, I have a friend that her child isn't vaccinated. Well, she didn't get it vaccinated, and I wouldn't let her child come around my kids because back in the day, I didn't want her to get her kids to get my kids the cooties. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know. I was young and dumb, and they were too. So, but I just knew if you weren't vaccinated, something was wrong. But not saying it. That was me back then. This is a new me. So I'm looking at things now in the perspective as, okay, it's all right for me to have mine vaccinated, but it's okay for you to have yours not. You know what I'm saying? And this here is, what do we expect? What are we gonna expect ages 1 to 2 year old? Am I correct? Y'all understand what I'm saying? What would you expect from that? And that would be what? That would be what? Are we gonna get them vaccinated? I'm sorry, I'm just so fast, but what would you do?
Well, we did vaccinate. I'm kind of like on the fence, like I want to, and then sometimes I don't want to.
Right.
So what I did was I would space it out. Like, we're not going to get all of them at one time, doctor. Right. We're going to get a few here, then we'll come back and slowly integrate them into the shots, because I couldn't stand it. I would cry every time they got a shot. But that's me. My husband has a different perspective on it, but I like to space it out if I can.
Really? I like to just get it done and be through with it. Bam. Because I want to hear him holler one time. I want to keep hearing him holler. Just do it. Come on. Let me take him home and give him some Tylenol. But that was me. Everybody's different. Yes. Leah, what you do?
We got vaccinated too. It was funny because with my firstborn, I was like so on the fence. Do I vaccinate? Do I not vaccinate? And it got real messy. I was trying to like figure out what vaccination does what. I'm skipping, missing this, coming back to get the other part of it. It was just like, Lord have mercy. And it felt like it was just too much work. I was like, I can't keep trying to figure out what really works and what goes and what doesn't go, how this is going to affect them, how this is. So I think just honestly, you can do that research, definitely over that 9-month span, if you have the time to really look into it and know, because they have the charts available. I have one of my refrigerators like birth to like 5 years old, and it shows when you get what. So you can definitely go by that chart and just start looking at each one individually to say, okay, I don't want the tetanus booster. I do want the this or that, whatever the case may be. Right. So I think it's just so important to have that kind of knowledge, especially if it's going to bother you, if it's going to be one of those things that I really need to know and understand. Hey, be my guest. I'm totally not against it. I tried it, and the research just beat me out at the end. I was just like, okay, everybody just get whatever we're coming here for. It's fine. At this point. But yeah, I think it's just one of those decisions you really just have to make for yourself to know. Absolutely.
A good thing about waiting. Oh, sorry. About waiting for doing them one at a time is that you'll know how each vaccine affects your kid. That's one note I will put out there.
Like when you teach them when they're first learning to eat, and you have to give them one thing and then give it a break, to see if they're going to be allergic to it. Yep.
How did y'all do with potty training?
Potty training for me with my first, it was like an accident almost. He had a diaper rash and I was staying home. So I did without a diaper, and it was within 2 weeks he was potty trained. I said, okay, well, that worked out. Killed two birds with one stone.
Yay. Yes.
And how old was he? It was his second birthday when he was in underwear. So he was leading up to being 2.
All 4 of my kids all 3 of my kids, my first 3 were potty trained, walking and off the bottle by a year old. That last baby,
making a statement.
That last baby, it didn't work well. They were still pushing her around in the stroller, and she was able to walk, but they was pushing her around in the stroller. That was a daddy's baby, and she didn't work well. Potty train, no.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness. Well, my first one, yeah, she was just like that. It wasn't by accident, but she potty trained really fast. We didn't have any issues. It was awesome. My son, he was second, same way. We potty trained really fast. It seemed like almost in a weekend in between like daycares. I'm like, I gotta get him potty trained real. And I did take him to the daycare. Okay, so that was a little bit of an issue. So we had to go in and address that because the lady was not trying to help facilitate this potty training thing. My mother was like, oh no, she gonna help facilitate because we're doing this. Okay, so I was like, yeah, you're gonna help facilitate because we are doing this. So we did. We had to have that discussion with the director and everything. But yes, definitely. Both of the oldest two were potty trained by 2 years old. For sure. I don't remember exact ages, but for sure by 2. And then the twins, they were, oh Lord, you talking about long days and nights, lots of empty. I was like, this is what they talking about, constantly wiping and cleaning up and oh my goodness, that was a totally different story. But my daughter, she potty trained first, and she potty trained the fastest, the best, oh my goodness. My son, on the other hand, well, he's after 2. We still working on the nighttime, but he's totally got the daytime when he's fully cognizant. We don't have any issues. He's great. It's just that nighttime thing that's a whole different story. But but yeah, I mean that potty training, Lord have mercy. I thought I wasn't ever gonna come up with, especially a 2 at a time. I thought I wasn't gonna come up for air. It was long. Those days was long.
And you know what? With potty training, they say kids are easier. They'll pee faster than they'll poop when they're potty training.
Right.
So when you're potty training, if they are still hiding or whatever and holding their poop when they're potty training, it's because it's a different sensation when you're doing it in a diaper than when you're doing it in the toilet. It's for some kids, it can be kind of scary, I guess, and they don't want to do it in the potty. Don't get so hard on them. Don't be so hard on yourself. They will do it. It'll come. Just keep at it. Don't give up and throw in the towel and say, forget it. We can't do this potty training. You can. Just be consistent with it. Let them know that it's okay. And don't get angry at them, because then it'll be like, oh, it's a bad thing if I poop, if I don't poop. We don't want to cause any extra stress around it.
And listen, we used everything, the music, the songs, the videos, the potties that make the noises, everybody
the stickers,
celebrating.
a piece of candy.
You know, yes, boys, you stand there, aim at something, you drop it in the toilet, let them try to be. My son be like, bubbles, mommy, but yeah, boy, you better make them bubbles. You know, me and my twins, we have called it hot dogs. And my daughter is so smart. She be like, mommy, I made hot dog, but you don't eat that hot dog. I be like, no, we don't eat those hot dogs, baby. No, those you don't eat. That's no. But so there are so many things out there. And I haven't actually looked into it, but I know they say nighttime training can be a little different. And there's a way to do that too. So, you know, research, read your books, go to the good old fashioned library. There's lots of stuff out there.
Yes. Family, we really hope that this has been helpful. There's so much to discuss about what to expect when expecting. That's why we had a part 1 and we had a part 2. And to be honest, this is something we could probably discuss every single day, because there's something different. There's something new. Your experience, your mom's experience, everybody's experience is different. But what we want you to do is have a baseline of how things can go.
Yes.
And have a knowledge, have a village. Don't be afraid to reach out and say, I need help. Be aware of the signs of depression and reach out to get help. If you have a doula, get the placenta, see if it'll help with your symptoms of depression, if it'll help with boosting your energy. Take time for yourself. Take care of yourself. We are moms. First, we have to be able to take care of ourselves before we can take care of these babies. So if there is something that you want to discuss, leave it in the chat. If there's something you want to add to this conversation, leave it in the chat and we will get back with you and we will continue this discussion in the chat. And one last thing. So the Bible says that the older women should help train up with the younger women. It's in Titus chapter 2, verses 3, 4, and 5. Look that up and just know that that's the purpose of our village. Sister Shayla said her grandmother was teaching her things. Leah said her mom was telling her to do this stuff. Look to the older generation. They have the knowledge. Don't throw them away like they're too old to know anything. They've lived through some things. Let's look to our older our older generation, and our older generation help us out. We need it. We can be stubborn and hard-headed sometimes, but we need it. Give it to us anyway, because we'll remember it when we need it. Yes. So we thank you all for joining us. And until next week, same time, same place. See you next week for Mom's Pearls. Bye.
Mom's Pearls.